I thank you guys for joining me on another presentation. Today's discussion involves a very little known tax retirement strategy, the RRSP Meltdown. If you have a very large RRSP balance and you're worried about paying a lot of taxes when you retire, you're worried about OAS clawbacks and not being able to receive your government benefits, this presentation is going to be exactly for you. I'm going to show you how you can use the RRSP meltdown strategy to significantly lower your retirement tax bill, saving you thousands of dollars, and you're still going to be able to receive the majority of your government benefits, even if you have a high RRSP balance and you're concerned about paying a lot of taxes. You may want to hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, but show the channel some love. If you haven't met me before, by the way, my name is Leon Mann. I'm a licensed wealth consultant with Money Assist Financial. And what I do, I help hard-working folks. Perhaps it can be yourself. I help them to add an additional multiple, 6 to 7 figures, by providing a free, no obligation financial guideline. The financial guideline is much like a GPS. It's gonna show you what you need to do from where you currently are so that you can design the lifestyle around the type of conditions you would like to retire to when you're no longer working. Right now, in order to understand the RRSP meltdown strategy, you need to understand exactly how an RRSP works. Now, we have until the age of 71 years of age to transfer your RRSP balance into a RIF without having to suffer any tax consequences. What happens is that if you do not transfer your RRSP balance into a RIF before the age of 71, the government will tax anything inside your RRSP, meaning you're going to be landing a huge tax bill. Now, what happens is that when you usually have a big balance in an RRSP, you usually would be pushed into a higher tax bracket. And at retirement, if you're making above a certain income, guess what starts to happen? You start to receive clawbacks, specifically on your old age security benefits. So the meltdown helps you to soften the tax hit so that you do not receive as many clawbacks, if any at all, and you can significantly lower your retirement tax bill. Now, the strategy basically involves taking out from your RRSP a lot sooner, right? You don't have to wait until you're 70 or approaching 71. You want to start taking out from your RRSP between the ages of 65 to 71. So when you start at 65, preferably when you are in a lower income, what usually happens is that, so the idea here is to take out an investment loan. And when you take out an investment loan, you want to be funding an income producing asset. So what people would usually do, they will take out an investment loan and they would purchase assets such as dividend paying stocks, segregated funds. You want to be funding an income producing asset. And in Canada, the law states that when you are borrowing to fund an income producing asset, the interest on that loan now becomes a tax deductible. Interest on the loan used to fund an income producing asset becomes a tax deductible. Now, when you take out money from your RRSP, you're going to be paying taxes on the income. Now, the interest on that loan, provided that it is large enough, should be able to at least offset your RRSP withdrawals. So basically what you're doing is that any money that you take out from your RRSP, you are offsetting it and you are paying very little taxes, if any at all. Meanwhile, what you're doing is you're funding investments for the future, right? That can earn you money later on in life. This basically allows you to add more options when you are in your retirement years. And why the meltdown? Well, as you get closer to 71, your RRSP basically melts down. When you transfer it over into a RIF and it becomes income, then you're not going to be taxed a lot because the RRSP is pretty much melt down. Some people, they completely melt down the entire RRSP balance so that they do not necessarily have to pay taxes when you transfer it over into a RIF or when you're paying income on a RIF. Now, I must warn you that this involves leverage, so you have to be comfortable with risk. You have to have a large RRSP balance so that when it becomes income, you do not want to have it clawed back, for example, right? And also, what happens is that you can use the withdrawals to do whatever you want from your RRSP. But most importantly, what you want to do, you don't want to be paying down the principal of that investment loan. You want to be paying the interest, however, on the investment loan. The investment loan is your leverage to fund the assets, for example. And by doing this, you offset basically your RRSP withdrawals income being taxed. How do you pay back the investment loan? Many people would ask. Now, the idea here is to take out life insurance on the investment loan. So if you pass away, what happens is that the repayment will go towards your beneficiary. When you name a beneficiary to your life insurance policy, the beneficiaries will repay the investment loan, right? So this is how it would usually work. But as I mentioned before, it is not a strategy that is useful for everyone. You want to be comfortable with risk, and also you want to be able to leverage your investments. Remember, at retirement, it is not how much you have saved, but it's how you're able to withdraw and use your investments. Now, the strategy is a very complex strategy that does require financial guidance. And if you find yourself in this position, hey, feel free to either send me a message or go to my website, leonman.ca. I thank you guys for tuning in, by the way. Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment, show the channel some love, and thank you for joining me. Until next time, peace and love. Take care.